We're here today. We're gonna make a quick video. We have some game recaps to do, but I just want to make a quick video about engine usage for people that suck at chess. Um, I think it is. I don't know. I watch a lot of people that do Journey to 1200s, Journey to 1500s, 1600, 2000, 2200. Like, there's a lot of people that are doing these kind of things, and in some of them they'll go to the engine review, and this is a game that I played where I reviewed it myself first. As you can see, it's showing different variations, which means I've looked at the game myself. Um, and I'm not gonna pretend to be like the all-knowing 1200, 1500 Lee chess god of chess. But I think it's worth exploring the idea that inaccuracies and mistakes, depending, don't mean a whole lot in terms of the chess at this level. And so let's do this game recap. This is a game I lost yesterday, 26 hours ago. And we'll go through the loss, and we'll kind of but I want to, during this recap, I want to take special note of the this number, the plus or minus, the evaluation by the computer, and how I'm going to judge the evaluation slightly different, maybe what I see, what I don't see. But at 4, this is a nothing burger in terms of evaluation, because this is a known opening, right? King's Gambit. It's a bit of an inaccuracy. So, a lot of people put stock into every single inaccuracy, and that's what I'm here to disagree with. Inaccuracies, and generally, unless you're like a grandmaster, national master, master 2000, a lot of even the mistakes aren't going to be as big as the computer's leading you to believe. D6, I'm treating this like a, and so now, sorry, we're going to transition from that little mini rant into the analysis of the game. I'm going to treat this like a Queen's Gambit declined, because I don't know a lot of theory about the King's Gambit. I do know that you can come up here and do a nice little check. But as of right now, it's like Queen H4, Knight H2. It's not as fun as it wants to be. Knight F3. So this is part of the line of King's Gambit. I go Knight C6, and again, this is more Queen's Gambit declined structuring. I didn't realize you could take here. Whatever. Ooh, look at that devastating mistake. Oh man. It's not, because in the next evaluation, in a few moves, it's not going to be like here. It's not that it's not unclear. You can take, you get your center, you're attacking the pawn. There's no way to keep the pawn. This is what the King's Gambit is, and I didn't necessarily want to feed into that, right? Whatever. Anyway, just me ranting about too much reliance on an engine in terms of evaluation. Okay, they push up. Oh, see, that devastating mistake. They push up into the center. I want to take here because this is a free pawn. So now I'm a pawn up. I'm kind of in a King's Gambit-y situation. I'm moving my king. I don't have a good spot because of this move here. I don't have a real good spot for my dark squared bishop. So it's here, and then it's just kind of stuck. I decide go ahead and move my queen up. Maybe I can castle queen side and start throwing my pawns forward. They attack my knight, so I decided to go ahead and trade it off. I didn't want to trade it off a move earlier just because, well, the knight at that point is my most active piece. And then here they take back with the queen. Now I castle queenside, absolutely drop a pawn, didn't even realize that was a thing. And I take here, releasing the pressure in the center, but also putting more pawns on the king side so I can start running down the board. They move back. Sure, I want to protect this pawn because it's really advanced. And then in the next move, maybe I'm looking for another pawn push. I don't push the pawn, by the way, because it's very interesting that. Hold on, h4. So you're saying queen e5. And so, like, I haven't even fully gone through this. Like, queen e5, how does that here? It's the same line. Is it not? No, it's not. Because you just lose the boy there. Okay, so I can see why that would be the case now. And, in such a way, that's good. That's good. We're not really using the engine, but we are, I guess. Well, I did see this, but I haven't actually really looked through it too much. So h6, I'm wanting to, if they take g takes, or h takes g5, h takes g5, my rook is now looking pretty good. I can develop here, and well, I'd probably move my knight to be perfect. No, because takes, and then we're takes, push up, you take, and then really I'm just trying to get my knight out of the way. That's an impossible move. Anyway, rook ad1, and then this move is not good because of the rook move. So I kind of put my queen into a bad spot. They come here. This is where a lot of my calculation is. This is where I went wrong. Granted, this is a blunder, but it's not. I wouldn't even call this like the worst blunder in the world because we're low ELO, and this is an absolutely comebackable offense. And they want me to retreat. I spent some time here thinking, and what I missed in this position, calculated everything, was this fork here. If this fork is not a thing, you can do what I did, which is g4, bishop takes e5, queen, g takes f3, take the queen, you take the knight, and I pull over. I did not see this right here. And this is what makes it the losing move. They get a piece, I check, they go over, I take, and now I'm a piece down. Now, again, let's pay attention to this number. The evaluation is plus 5.2, right? And through various play, it doesn't stay that way, right? 5.2, for anybody that's really good, is a monster of an advantage, but I can get it back to, now granted I got checkmated, so let's not play, but I can get it back to 3.6 through good, decent play, let's call it. Let's see how the end game went. And what I enjoyed for the end game is how I was able to get my pieces to work together. Again, inaccuracy, but does it matter? Does it matter if I'm a rook and a pawn down? Nah, it don't. Now I could, they take. I start defending my dark squared bishop. I attack it again. They come back, and now I got my dark squared bishop in a better position. They push up. That's fine. I push up. I don't have a lot I can do, right? Except lose another pawn, apparently. They want to trade. I absolutely cannot trade in this position. They take. That's probably why it was minus the pawn, but whatever, right? And so here's where the fancy footwork. This is another one. This, I would say this is a blunder. That's just a straight pawn. But they don't see that. So they come here. I push up. If you take, I'm going to fork your stuff. And to be perfectly honest, there's not a lot I wouldn't pull this move out because it attacks. Starting to attack. They come in. I move my king up. And now my pieces, I'm starting to learn, not really learn, but I'm taking the time to understand the piece coordination. You can't take. I mean, you can take, sure. No, hold on. Is that hanging? Holy macaroni, what? Oh, no, it's just a trade. It's not great. It's not great, but you can take this piece. And then I would take, and you go back over here because it doesn't matter. But they don't want to lose their knight, and they allow me to get my bishop to one of the most annoying squares. The other annoying square is right here. They push up their knight. I can take. And again, look, these are all just like bad moves. The evaluation's going from like 4-5, 5-6. Pawns are being lost left and right. They takes. I get off the thing, and then I blunder here with the idea that I thought they can take. Is exactly what happens in the game. Takes, and then maybe I can get over. But what I didn't see in the game was King G2 putting me in zugzwang. I'm going to lose this pawn because I can come over and then they can get their pawn. And game's over. And here it's, do I feel like trying to defend this position? Do I feel like doing XYZ? And I'm at the point now where I don't. I don't necessarily care so much about 5 rating points that I want to make this guy prove that he knows how to put the rook on the G file, promote the H pawn, and checkmate me with the easiest way ever. I could, but I don't feel like it. I don't want to waste my time like that. And that's my reasoning for, they say never resign. If I'm in a bad enough position and I don't feel like defending it, I'm not going to defend it. Now, that's not to say that, I'm just going to be resigning here and there. You do have to, beat me up a certain amount in order for me to accept the defeat. But at the same time, it's just a waste of time sometimes. So let's look at another game. And then this is part of the reason I wanted to do this first is to bitch about engine analysis and how it's not as set in stone, in my opinion, as not that we're led to believe, but the engine provides kind of an objective truth, an objective truth of what is the best move in XYZ position. The engine knows. And at least to a level above a human, if that makes sense. And so part of my issue is that the engine's going to provide an objective kind of truth, and it's hard to dive into the position as deeply when you know that, let's say, move 4, I can just click this little button, and I can have the top 5 moves. Which knight f6 is the 4th best move. But it's a mistake. The 4th best move in a position? No. If you're not, in my opinion, if you're not dead lost by the end of the move, no move is going to be such a bad move. Now we're going to do one more rapid game. No, see, here's the problem is I don't really like this one. We're going to do this one, I think. Let me see. It's a bit... We'll do both. How about that? We'll do both. This one I ran an engine analysis on because I wanted to do the video about Lord Scuba being not anti-engine, but anti-Holy Church of Engine, if that makes sense. And so I did run an analysis on this one as well. But the swings are, when it's bad, it's real. We can show it. When it's bad, it's real bad. There are some crazy big swings here. And so because the swings are so big, they're either not at all, or we're blundering left and right. 2 blunders for me, 7 blunders for my opponent. So again, this doesn't show what I kind of wanted to show, which is that, little mistakes aren't that big of a deal. So let's go through this. We'll go through it with the analysis just because I have it pulled up and I can run through it through a few variations. And then we're going to end the video with one more game analysis in the way that I want to start doing it on my channel, which is contributing to Lord Scuba Rapid Study. And this is going to be a public thing for now until somebody realizes that I have a study of all my rapid games that I'm not going to use an engine on, sneaks in, does an engine analysis on every one of them, and all my hard work is lost. But hey, it is what it is. Okay, so E4, E5, no, C6. This is Caro Kann. Okay, we're Caro-ing Conning it. I don't necessarily do the advanced. I don't do the exchange. I try to develop my pieces. And this works for me so far. A lot of the moves here are takes, and then you get a lot of knight f6. Knight takes f6, e6, and then in the Caro Kann, I don't really play it, but I've played against it a lot. You get this structure here with all these pawns. This bishop comes out, you castle, and then this knight comes over and ends its journey on f8 and becomes really, really annoying to deal with. And I've seen that more than a few times. So the knight d7 here kind of shocked me a little bit. I was like, oh, what's going on here? Now, there is a name for this opening. It's like the Caro Kann something version. I don't know. But I don't think it's a bad move. It's just not a move I'm used to. And so now we're here. I take because I know a very specific line in the Caro Kann. And then they replace. And this is it's not the best. It's not the worst. I would say it's probably still pretty even. I decide to push my pawn to the most aggressive square. I've been studying some Rashid Nesmedinov, and he likes being way aggressive. This is not the most aggressive square because it's not on my opponent's side of the board, but here we're hitting granite, here we're getting taken, here we're getting taken, so it's just the open file, and I don't necessarily want to immediately come out here. I could have ideas of pushing, dropping back, and bringing my queen up that I'm seeing now during this particular game review because I've recorded this video a few times. They push their dark squared bishop out to the center. Don't see an issue with that. And then I castle, they castle, and I push c4. The idea behind c4 is to eventually c4, and then unless they do something that I think needs to be fixed, probably going to go c1 and start looking to trade off this dark square bishop for the knight to then get a pawn. They don't ruin that idea, but that idea is gone. So now I'm just going to go ahead and take. And to continue the kind of bitch about the engine analysis, if you look, point 9, there's a move here somewhere that maintains almost a full pawn advantage, but I take because it's a half pawn. This is not a bad move. It's not a bad move at all. Let's see, what did I look at? I looked at C2, G, and then here, this does not work just because you can get your defenders into it. I watched a Chess Vibes video recently where he said the rule of thumb is you can sack a piece when there's an immediate follow-up. Here, we don't really have that immediate follow-up, or that we would want. So, don't think sacking there works. They pull their queen out, that's fine, and then I push up. My idea to go c2 and check no longer really works because you just move. Okay, that did nothing. But we still could have ideas, again, here of pulling back and pushing up, and we're just creating a lot more weaknesses around the king side. We don't do that, though. We bring our rook to e1. Rook to e1 because we wanted to go rook e5, but no. bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. That was pretty easy to see. And yeah, we can come here and get a tempo on the queen, but I mean, they just take a second pawn. And what are we doing? Losing all our pawns. So I wanted to prepare it with the rook maneuver. Now we can come in. It doesn't do too much, though. This move, I missed what my opponent wanted to do. This is not a bad move, apparently, but if I was smarter, maybe I would have. F6. This is a blunder because of queen. Queen F6 would have been better, and then whatever. I didn't think this was a bad move. And then this is where, and this is kind of how my my analogy falls apart, right? With big swings. This is where the engine is really good because it can show you where your calculations failed. Okay, here was my calculation. Here, queen takes. I didn't see this move. I was like, oh, I could come here and hang mate m1. Maybe not mate m1, but it's not fun, that's for sure. I'm pretty sure you could just, I don't know. Queen h1, e2. Unclear, not great. We'll settle on that. Unclear, not great. Bishop g2, knight g2. First, so I thought about this, knight g2 first. And I'm not exact, I think it was here. You're cutting off the protection of the knight. You're cutting off that protection. So that's probably, and you can't, this doesn't work because you just lose your knight. Anyway, so they go f6. Again, I didn't see this move. Well, I saw this, and I didn't see this move. And basically, the queen is not trapped. It's not having a lot of fun, though. Here, let's see. Queen takes h4. Yeah. There's a whole line here. H4, queen d2. This was where the computer thought to take them because there's two squares. You can take here or you can come down here. Me personally, I think this I think queen takes h4 is the most reasonable try. And then we have, not that. We have this. Now, again, you got to sit with it to figure out what's happening in the position. Here, probably go here. Where's the squares, right? So you now go here, but that loses the queen. I think the queen is trapped. Nope. You can go here. 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 Can't take. Okay, anyway, sorry about that. Here. We need to get better about saying that. So we rejected the pawn move, which was the best move, and we decided to just move the knight back. So they go e5. I don't move the knight back again. I want to protect the knight. I felt personally that moving the knight back again was too passive, and I didn't have a lot of good squares to go to with the knight. And we're just kind of losing this pawn. So I didn't want to go back. I decided to continue defending. They do a fork. I saw the fork. I did not see the fork. But here, I realize I can basically sack the rook, right? Here, and then takes back. And they're only a pawn up, but then they make this mistake, right? Why is this a mistake? Because look at that. Bow. There's a forking square here, and I can get to that forking square with a check. H7, I now forked. We're good. Okay, Lord Scoop is winning. Maybe I give up a pawn. You see this? Such big stretches. And yeah, I give a pawn up. All right, they take it. I take because I see that I can win a pawn. So I do see the merit of this move, though. I didn't look at it, but I see the merit now. Instead, I go for the check, blunder, check, and queen takes b2. In my mind, this is not a bad move. In my mind. Now, the wild move would have been to come here and trade queens. That's wild. Queen g7, queen e6, queen f8. You know what's hilarious? I would have took it. And let's see. 3-7, I'm still a piece up. Centralize my pieces. I've got a passed pawn. You don't have anything. I'm looking to invade and start taking stuff. Yeah. Now, but would you see that, though, with this just being a mistake? Right? Because this is... Trading queens is still winning. But they would have called trading queens a mistake, even though it's still more than winning. Anyway, so I decided to take the pawn. They move. And my problem here is, yeah, you see, I'm at 1 minute 11. Yeah, 1 minute 14. I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to continue just going back and forth and get a draw by repetition. Queen f6, h8, h5, g8. Yeah, I don't fully understand it. But hey, and this is something that, like, I feel like we could use the engine for. But they're back and forth. I decide to move my knight. So the reason that I couldn't, say, well, okay, no, it was back here. Takes h6, moves over, and I'm pretty sure the engine wanted this move because you're forking, but they can come up and they can defend. And then you can maybe get your piece out. But hey, who knows? Okay, so the goal now is to just get the king off the back rank. Trying to figure it out. This is all fine. I felt like I was winning here, but also I'm down to 16 seconds. I just can't figure out how to do it. I'm trying to keep up. And so I'm like, I got to get my back rank more secure. I don't necessarily want to go this way. I don't know why. But, it's because part of the threat was here. And they would win my knight. Not right now, obviously. We just trade everything. So here, I think this would have been fine. Coming up something like h4 and just getting off that diagonal. And then h4, if they really... I mean, they could try. But this is a completely losing endgame for them. So I decided to come here and make the position complicated. 2 inaccuracies. I don't feel like I'm losing still. I think queen e2 would have been fine. But it's tough. So we're here. We're back to checking. Again, 14 seconds. On what is it? Increment. And I pull this move. Bam! I hang my queen. Absolutely. Hands down. Now this loses. This loses because of this move. And I found this while I was annotating later, right? Because I am trying. Anywhere you move, if you're out of contact with this rook, you're going to lose it. So the only move, there's 2 moves, which is here deflection tactic, and you win the rook. Okay. Or you come back here trying to maintain, but unfortunately now you're too far and I can get you off the back rank and I win your rook. So that move just loses. Well, I take the queen because I noticed it was hanging. I wish I deleted the video to save space on my computer, but I wish, because I recorded myself playing the game, but I wish I saved the clip of me hanging the queen and being like, oh, and then them not realizing it, me being like, yeah, it was, the highs and the lows. My mood looked like this graph. Okay, so we're going to do one last one, and this is, maybe it makes, again, maybe we make a whole video over a different recap about me explaining this, but if you're still here, you'll at least see it. This is how I think I'm going to do my Lee chess recaps from now on. No engine, no anything. We're going to look at it ourselves. It's a public study, so people can join it and suggest variations. Sure, the only question is, or the only request is we don't run an engine on it unless we're looking at a very specific situation. No engine has been run on this game. I don't even think I ran an engine in the actual game. I don't remember, to be honest. Okay, d4, d5, knight f3. This is my first mistake, which is you don't want to move this c knight in a queen's pawn opening, generally speaking, because you're fighting for the center with these three pawns. E3, okay. Like a French-ish structure. Nope, this is the London, but like a bad London because they didn't bring their knight, they didn't bring their bishop out. So I don't super understand it. I'm trying to solidify the center. A similar setup, and I'm castled, and we're here. Why did I go E8? It's because I want this pawn push. I need to release this pressure, this bishop anyway, so I'm wanting the pawn push. I thought that was too slow. So they get to the pawn push first. The problem is, if I had to throw down like not a game losing move, but a strategically losing move, it's this pawn push. Because they put their queen in front of their king and then decided to, let's start opening up the center. I'm not even going to take. I probably didn't even have to take. I could have did any other move. I could have just did this, to be perfectly honest. But I didn't want this move. So, by the way, if you're wondering why I didn't want that. So, because I didn't want him pushing, I pushed. Now, if you take, sure, I'm going to take, and I'm going to win your queen. And you can have this knight, to be perfectly honest. You can just have it. It's okay. I'll give it to you. I'll make that trade. And then, the game would go on. So you can't take that pawn. You can take the other way, sure. But then I'm going to take. And again, you can't take this pawn because now I've got discoveries. And you can't. Part of the reason that these are so rough is it's like, if you check sometimes if you have a pin, the queen can kind of protect itself. So it's hard to do this kind of stuff without discoveries. Here we are. Again, we have a discovery. And I decide to take the pawn. Here, I'm not going to win a piece, but I'm going to win a tempo. Or I'm not going to win a pawn, but I'm going to win a tempo. No, I win a pawn. So if I take, queen takes, I can take, and I've won a pawn. It's getting antsy. It's getting antsy. So, who knows? Hold on. Let's see. That don't matter. Not right now, at least. Not when I'm doing a recap video. Okay, d takes e. And here, I was like, oh, what do we do? We could push up. That gives him a stronger center, and I don't really like that. We could take here. We could take here. We could try and go this route. I did think about bishop c5, bishop f5, and offering a little bit of candy. because candy, and we're here, right? We're checking, but you can't move this. So it's going to be what? You end up taking, I take, you take. Maybe we don't do that one, huh? Anyway, so I go ahead and take because they can take back. Cool. I'm going to take back. You can take back. But your light squared bishop is, so now I've liquidated the position, but you still have your king in the center in front of your queen, two of the highest value pieces. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Get out of there. Two of the highest value pieces. You can't, and then here, I think this was my opponent's idea, but your bishop's still pinned. You can't do anything. It's a clean piece. I decided to take with the rook to make things complicated because I hate myself. And I wanted to preserve pawns on the king side. And now I'm going in. Now the idea is I could come here. That just seems like a bit of a nothing burger move. But this move comes with some real threats. We're starting to bring our pieces in front of the king. And yeah, not super duper concerned. But now I have 3 pieces around the king. That's going to be hard to deal with and stressful. So here I did think about this for a second until I realized I can sidestep. And honestly, this rook is not in the attack. Not that it's not necessary, but it's just not doing anything, and I don't necessarily need it to do anything right now because I have 3 pieces around the king. So we're not super duper worried about that check. They come over. This I thought was a perfectly fine idea. Not completely sure the plan. Oh, it's because if I jump here for the check, so if they did not move this piece, this is checkmate because it takes back and you can't defend it. So I thought this was fine. I decided to come here. Still threatening checkmate. They can push up, and I saw that they could push up. And this whole time, so this was all not fully calculated. Okay. I knew this wasn't a super big threat because I can come here. This isn't a big threat right now because I can take. So putting the pieces here is fine. If they push, I can take and tempo the queen. Now, the dumbness, I think I also deleted this video, is when I calculate things, it's hard for me to see where everything is, a move or two down the line. So if they push up like I thought they would, I can take. They can't take back because that would lose the queen and fork. That would be just real nasty. And I was like, oh, if they come here for this check and get out of it, I can just take with the rook. So we're good. We're not good. That's not how it works. This is no longer here. Luckily, there are defensive ideas in place. They check. I come up. They push up. We thought, so this is an intermediary move. I take, and they come here for this check. Why did my initial plan not work? This has no longer got a rook on it, you dingbat. Now, luckily, I can do this move. And the problem with this move, not the problem, it's a perfectly fine move. I don't know how they're going to save the position. This rook move did exactly what I wanted it to because by taking, if they take back, it's checkmate. They're in a pretty dire position. But my mindset here was not correct. Okay. I'm attacking. I'm actually doing a discovered attack on their rook. They check me again, and in my mind, I'm like, I'm winning because I'm forking your 2 heavy pieces with my minor piece. My opponent does what I think is a perfectly fine move, and he takes the knight. And I was like, oh man, what an idiot. They took the knight. The knight is how you save not everything, but like there's not a lot of continuations. And maybe we can, no, we're going to resist the urge to check the engine. And I was like, oh, dumb. And I took. This is the right move. I'm threatening checkmate on F1, by the way. So, like, is what it is. But I would say if they, let's see, Queen D3, if they would have come here, no. Actually, yeah, say they come here. I would have took, and then they would have took, and then I would have been like, oh man, and this is me like, so you can see I'm recreating my thought process. And I would have been like, oh nice, look at that alignment. And this whole time I would have played 4 moves, F1. I would have played those 4 moves. And the whole time, checkmate's hanging. I don't know how to fix that. And I would say that's one of my issues of squirreling in a position and absolutely forgetting. I lost a classical game. I think there was a game review about it where I see something and then I immediately forget it, like a pin, or heck, something could be defending something, and I'm like, oh, if I move this piece, well, I moved the defending piece, and so I just hang pieces. Anywho, this was the game review. I hope you enjoy it. I think this is how we're going to do it from now on, including the chess.com games. We might bring them into Lee Chess and add them to this massive study. If you see anything and want to contribute to the study, you can just look up my profile, Lord Scuba, and it's, Lord Scuba Rapid Study. And this is kind of something that we can do until someone messes it up for everybody else. Is kind of how I'm thinking it's going to go. Yeah, that's how it's going to go. Please don't use an engine on this unless it's very sparingly and specific. And I would say it would also be, I would do it at the end of a variation and try and keep it just to a minimum. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoyed the recap. Hope you enjoyed me ranting and bitching about the engine analysis and how it's not the end-all be-all. Yes, blunders happen. Yes, losing pawns happen. But at lower levels, it's not something that I think is the gospel. It can show you ideas. It can show you tactics that you missed that you can study. But don't base everything off of it. You know what I'm saying? And don't use it when you're analyzing because it doesn't allow you to dig into the position more. Actually, I'm trying to end this video. I'm a gabber. I'm a gabber. So let's gab for a half second. And this is kind of what I mean. View games. Let's see. Engine analysis available. See, we didn't do it on this one. We did. And I'm still bad about using the engine analysis. Okay. This was a mistake. Sure. But let's take this for a second. Which is easier to dig into? No annotation here. No annotation here. Or no evaluation, and you seeing this move and you going, this didn't quite work, but you see the little arrow here. And you're like, oh, that is the answer. And so it's hard to dig into the position to find different ways to deal with the problems, right? This is probably not the worst move. I don't know, because you can always come up. Anything where you go down and you lose the rook, but you can always come up. And so it's just a way, it's hard to dig into it when I'm sitting here staring at this was best. Or, whatever. Queen G6 was best. And when you're staring at that and trying to ignore that this is the best one and dig into the position, it just makes it harder. For me, at least. And if it doesn't make it harder for you, hey, more power to you. Go ahead and do what you're going to do. But we will talk to y'all later. We will see y'all later, and I hope you enjoyed our video. It's about 44 minutes, so yeah.